Once upon a time, two friends joined forces to bring you the best in horror entertainment. Brian from the north, Tim from the south, each bringing their own unique perspective to the horror community. Movie reviews, Blu-ray releases, beer pairings, games, and more. Welcome to your new home for horror. This is Civil Gore.
Hey there, everybody. Welcome to the Civil Gore Podcast. I'm your host, Tim.
And this is Brian. And we have this could be one of our most epic episodes. Not per se because of the movie we're doing, because the movie we're doing is relatively new. It just came out, but it's our guests that we have on today.
Yeah, I know you guys remember in the past, and I can't remember if we did it on the last Ghostradamus predictions, but Brian usually predicts that we'll get some major guest during the year, and this time we somehow landed two incredible guests for this movie, and I'm still kind of wrapping my head around the fact that we got these two wonderful people on for these interviews that were just incredible.
Yeah, I mean, it's like to know how big one of them is that my mother-in-law knew them. And, she's not she doesn't know celebrities per se, but like most of the guests we get on know she's never heard of because we get a lot of horror specific guests. But one of our guests is like really transcends like the generations and types of things. So
So the movie today is The Demon Detective, and our two incredible guests are Adrienne Barbeau and Doug Jones. Two of our favorite people we've met on the con circuit. We both met Adrienne Barbeau at New Jersey Horror Con. I met Doug Jones at a Wilmington con many, many years ago. And they're just incredible people that we love talking to. And it was so much fun to get to see them, talk to them again after, several years. So this was really a huge treat to be able to kind of pick their brains on about not only this movie, but certain aspects of their career. And like we said, The Demon Detective is just recently came out. It's available on VOD. I guess we could get right into it, Brian, unless you want to talk about some Horror Challenge updates.
yeah, I was going to, but I was also trying to like simultaneously see if we did pick that Ghostradamus, but I can't find the notes on it. I don't know
I
where
know.
it went.
We'll have to get back with you guys on that one because I was going to try to
Because
find
I'm
it as
really
well.
curious if oh wait, no, I found it. Well, I found mine at least. Let's see.
It would have been on yours because I don't think I picked it this year.
And
Or no,
yeah, this is the one I did not do it this year.
Oh, see, he gave up too quick. He gave up too quick.
But no. But so far, so I'm looking at my quatrains while I pick that up. I have the potential of still going 4 for 4. One of them I nailed already,
Oh,
just to tell
wow.
you, which was my quatrain 3, which is that Art will have a Halloween haunt, which we all know he did. It's
Oh,
a very
that's right.
famous one
Yeah.
already. So I
Yeah.
nailed that one. And now I gotta hope that somehow Don Mancini brings Chucky back, which I think they announced something coming back, but I have to look in to see what they announced. And then I still say the Crystal Lake TV show will be delayed from releasing. Now it's filming, so that's still up in the air, but I don't think it's gonna come out this year. So technically, we have to look to see when it's listed as scheduled, because if it comes out after it says it's scheduled, then I can get that
Oh,
one.
man, a rare 4
And
for
I
4.
still cross my fingers, although I think this one's not gonna make it, is that I predicted the Blackwell Ghost #9, and when he drops these things, you never know. There's no, like, fanfare, they just come out.
They just come out. Yeah. There's no telling
But
with that
so,
one.
I mean, we could get a surprise. I don't know. But, I knew I should have of course, the one they go back on, the big guest, like, didn't happen, and, like, all the other years, and this year it
Yeah.
happened, but go figure. I willed it somehow, but, anyway, yeah, so with the hard challenge update, we've already gotten some, questions on that, so I figured I'd address a couple of them that I can off the top of my head. So I know we got one question, I think it was Jeff asked, of course. He's like Jeff and Cody are like the ones that have been in the trenches for
Yeah.
this challenge
They're
forever.
veterans at this point.
But they asked a question, but they asked really good questions. That's the thing. So one, Jeff asked about the 80s afraid what did I call it? 80s. I don't remember the name of the challenge off the hand, but it's an 80s horror movie that has to be 80 minutes long. And he goes, "Does it have to be actually 80 minutes?" And I said, "Yes, it's gotta be exactly 80 minutes, and there's a number of them. However, the one I had picked, I didn't even tell you this, Tim, yet. The one I had picked and all ready to sit down and watch, I decided to just double check on Tubi. While it says on IMDb it's in exactly 80 minutes, on Tubi it's like 13 minutes longer. So I had
Ooh.
to kibosh that and scramble and found another one that's exactly 80 minutes long.
I kind of this is the spirit of the thing, and I'm still counting mine. Mine was like 80 minutes and 13 seconds. Like if you look at it on
Oh, no,
Tubi.
that's okay. Yeah, no,
Yeah, I
that's fine,
figured
as long
that's
as it's in the
okay.
80 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. No, as long as it's between basically 80 and 81 minutes. Like, if it says, like, 81 minutes, no, I'm not going, like, to the second because no movie
Right.
ever goes to the
Yeah,
second.
exactly.
Yeah, no, I meant, yeah, it can't be 82 minutes, or it can't be 84
Yeah.
minutes, or 79 minutes. It's gotta be 80 minutes and
Per
change as
per
long as it doesn't hit
IMDb,
that.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, per IMDb, but, I mean, I was super strict to myself because 'cause I'm like, "Okay, I got plenty of." I mean, I had about 7 options, and it was literally it only covered that challenge anyway, so I was like, "Okay, you know what? Let me just grab my other ones." I ended up with that wood I didn't post it yet, but by the time you hear this, it'll be posted. I ended up doing that Wood Chipper Massacre
Oh
movie, which
god.
we gotta do one time on the show because this thing is wild. Like, that's the one where it totally fits the "it's so bad it's good" one.
Yeah,
Like, I said I suffered through it, but, like, enjoyably suffered through it in, like, a good way. Um, then, Cody asked a question, I think, and Jeff might have mentioned this too, and I know this is definitely gonna be one of these ones that spark a debate, and it's one of our probably most difficult ones. The one about someone dying while something is baking in the oven.
that
Now,
one's
when I say
hard.
baking, yeah, honestly, I still don't think I have one yet. I have to check it, and I'm not 100% sure, but it doesn't have to be baking in the sense of, like, baking a cake. I should have specified that the oven has to be on, and, like, you could be baking a lasagna. You don't have to be baking a pie or a cake or a tart. It's
Yeah,
gotta be just the oven basically is in use in the baking sense. It could be broiling. I mean, I'm not gonna go that crazy. It's hard
yeah.
enough.
Like, we
I
don't
just
need the
meant, like, it
recipe or
doesn't.
anything. Yeah.
Yeah, like, you don't need the recipe, just the oven basically has to be on and someone interacting with the oven, not the stove part top, but the oven itself.
This is high level, and I'll tell you what I counted for mine, which I think counts. I had somebody get killed in a restaurant kitchen where there were multiple cooks running around, obviously doing a restaurant service. So, obviously, there were ovens in use.
Yeah.
Uh,
Like, I think
and
that would count.
I felt like that should count because there's somebody baking something in that kitchen in a restaurant, and you could see the ovens in the background. I mean, there was no question that somebody's baking
Yeah.
while a person was being killed. I think in the spirit of the question,
Yeah,
that counts.
yeah, I mean, I think you have to allow that anyway because just it's like it's hard because sometimes it's like the way that movie is edited, you can't tell 100% time-wise. But I will tell you that well, no, if I give it away, I'll give you the I mean, well, I think we discussed it already. I think the movie where I got the idea from just happened to be passing by it, and I'm like, "Oh, that might be an interesting challenge." And I've seen it, so I'm not gonna use it unless I get to the last resort, and I'm like, "Oh, crap, I cannot find this the one I think it's gonna be, it doesn't count."
Yeah.
But yeah, that's accurate. I was trying to think, I think there was some Cody might have asked another question, but again, I guess the whole point of this is I want to kind of like, there is, how we always, how they always hear the term the spirit of the law, especially these days, I feel.
Yeah.
But it's the spirit of the challenge too. Like it doesn't, like there's a little leeway.
Yeah, it's not like we're gonna be taking your answers and reviewing every single one and going to the movie
Yes.
and checking the specific scene. I mean, there's a big honor system thing here. So, like,
Yeah.
if you say, "Oh, there was a sheep in this movie at the 23-minute mark," I'm just gonna believe that there was. I'm not gonna go back and look at
Yeah.
the movie. You
If
know,
you if you yeah,
it's the
if
honor
you could
system.
live with yourself, but we
Yes.
can live with yourself, whatever you pick. But
Exactly.
I but, and it's funny, it's like there's, like, I mean, one of them, the one where it's like, oh, you're eating something while watching the movie where someone's eating the same thing. Like, to me, that's a fun one, so if you wanna accidentally post your picture with it, of you eating it just for fun, go right
That would
ahead,
be cool, yeah. I wish I had done that,
you
actually. That
know?
would've been fine.
Yeah, I know, like, Jeff didn't do it. I was expecting him to totally do it, and I think what happened is like, when he posted, it sounded like it was accidental,
Yeah.
like, he just happened to be eating something, and then it happened to happen in the movie.
Yeah.
Like me, I have a movie planned for that eating challenge, and it's like I'm literally gonna have both food items because I think I may have possibly be able to do the grilled cheese one.
I did the grilled
Um,
cheese one, and
I know you did it, and you didn't brag about it
I
yet.
had to make a grilled cheese because it was already in the movie. I had to make a grilled cheese to be able to eat it while I was
Yeah.
watching
Well,
it.
I see, the problem is I knew that one and I can't use that one because I mean, I guess I could, but I've
Yeah.
seen it so many
Yeah.
times. I can't do that. Tim, luckily enough, never finished it, so he's able to see it. And that is our rule too. You could start a movie, and if you never finished it, it counts if you start it over again. You happen to find that you knew that was in there. But yeah, so mine is I think like literally I think in the keywords is about 8 different items of food that seems to be being consumed in this movie. So I think I'm gonna go for broke and just have 2 of the ones because I
Yeah.
know a restaurant that I could get both at, and I'm just gonna grab them to go, and if I don't, well, I got extra dinner and I gotta go for something else.
I finally knocked out my hardest one today that I did not expect to be hard, which was the 80s movie with a fast food restaurant scene was surprisingly tough for
Yeah.
movies you haven't seen. Now, granted, there's a lot of
Right.
them. There's a ton of them for movies I had seen, very famous
Yeah.
movies, but I had seen them all. So I finally found one and I actually scanned the movie until verified the scene was in there. I haven't watched it completely yet, but there's some in here that look easy, but are surprisingly difficult, like the baking one or
Yeah.
like the fast food one.
Yeah, and I'm having trouble with that fast food one myself. I mean, I think I might have one, but I didn't get a chance to check it yet, so I gotta double check. But the funny thing is that I'm like, 80s was like the fast food mecca of things. Like I remember eating I'm like, how are there not more horror movies? But they're always eating at diners. And I'm like, oh, wait,
Yeah.
is this it? No, that's a diner.
It's one of those questions though that you can't Google easily, and IMDb keyword search is not a super good help on this one. That's what's making it difficult. I'm sure there's gotta be tons that have fast food scenes in them, but how do you find out which ones have it?
Yeah.
That's the
It's
whole
it's
crux of
it's
the issue.
Yeah, I normally Google is a great source and the keyword is a great source, especially because if you know how to use the IMDb keyword thing, you can find things so easily.
Yeah.
Like most of the things you can find easily. But if you want to go do the Tim and I way, that makes it harder. But also it's like this one for some reason. I don't know why. Googling has not helped me. And the keyword has not helped me surprisingly. So I'm like, you gotta have to like gamble and do some research. Like, I do have a strategy though. If you think about characters in a movie or a location of a movie, you may end up there. Like, if you see a bunch of high school kids, well, high school kids go to fast food all the time. So there's a good chance maybe you'll find something. That's where I started and it's still have yet been unsuccessful with that. So I need to still like bring it up. I do have one on the side that I think might have it, but again, I haven't been able to check it yet because we ran out of time and Tim and I had to record. So I got to go back to that task later tonight. And I'm actually a little behind in the challenge myself, but I usually catch up on a couple of days. Like this has been a busy week and I've been decorating. And actually, Tim, you'll have a funny story in this. So remember I told you I bought one of those big spider web things in the spider for the
Yeah.
yards,
Yeah.
and I thought I was all slick, and I go and do this thing, and I'm like, oh shoot! I realized the size I bought for our front yard, it's too big. I hit the fence,
Oh,
and I'm
no.
like, yeah. So I'm like, oh, maybe and I had all these stakes. I'm like, oh, but wait, maybe if I tie it to the fence, I did it, put the spider on, and the spider's weight, which is not heavy, just managed to like droop this thing. And I'm like, oh God, I gotta try and fix this. And then right as that point, Julie walked out and she looks at it and she goes, she's just giving this like weird look on it. And I said, I know, I don't know what happened. I had like it started to get messed up. She goes, oh, I think you just need to stretch. She spent like literally, I spent an hour trying to deal with it. She went and spent 5 minutes and things fixed. And now it's like
You gotta get the
she had it
fixer on
like
it.
I know. She, like, weaved it into the wrought iron fence, so now it actually looks like the spider started from there and crawled backwards up, and so I'm like, "Wow," I said, "That actually's got an extra bonus effect to it,
Yeah.
that, like, now it looks like it's tied in with the fence, and it takes the whole half of the house that it didn't have anything at it yet." And I will say something is hilarious. I gotta say if I can capture this on video. So, I did these hanging ghosts outside that I was telling you about. And with lately, we get these nice little slight wind gusts. Now it's wreaking havoc to one of my tombstones, which is Julie already has a fix on that one. She knows how to fix that. So we're gonna fix that one later. But yet I have this thing, but yet where it is, if the wind blows it just right, the hand goes
On the
against the
window?
window
Oh
of
god.
the house, and it's freaking Obi out. So Obi keeps looking. I'm like, it's not a person. It's not a person. It's just the ghost. It's just the ghost. And then, but like, if I'm in the right sunlight, like right now, I'm looking out my window, and I literally see the shadow of this ghost going by the window and the hand waving, and I'm like, and it's cool effect outside too because it looks like because it's like basically a skeleton head and a flowing like
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 robes, yeah.
ghost robe, and so you see that literally flowing and it spins around sometimes.
Oh, that's
So I'm
cool.
like, it's like the cheapest animatronic I ever owned because it does all this movement without me doing anything. So yeah, so that's it.
My brother came over and we got all ours up, last Friday, and, it's looking really good. I abandoned the swamp theme because I just couldn't figure out how to do it, and I had so much other stuff. I was like, "It'd be a shame to just not put this stuff out." And it ended up
Yeah.
being I think it ended up being better. I think this is the best year I've had because I didn't put everything I own out, but what I did put out, I put out in a, like, very organized way, in a very secure way. Like, I really like, with my brother's help, I was able to really secure everything properly from the wind, and I got the plugs all organized and cable wrapped and everything. So
Nice.
it's really good, but it's kinda similar to what Obi's going through. Our animatronic witch is on the porch, so her hand is sticking up and you can see through our door, and so every now and again, she'll round the corner and forget that it's the witch, and she thinks it's a person at the door. She just starts freaking out, barking, and
Oh god.
I don't have a good place to put it
Yeah.
where she can't see it and it looks like a person. She's starting to get a little bit more used to it now, but it freaked her out for the first couple of nights.
Oh, you wanna have a field day, go to Home Depot and, like because we took Obi there because I had to get something, like, non-Halloween related, but I ended up picking up something cool. There was this multicolored, like, LED pumpkin disc light, so I put it in and you can do all different colors,
Oh.
and it lights up it's a little disc, 10 bucks, and it lights up, so I'm like, "Oh, I can make my pumpkin have the purple glow to match the rest of the glow,"
Oh,
when
that's
I put it
cool.
out there.
I need to go look for that.
Yeah, so yeah, and I'll go into my pumpkin farm thing too when we do our recap next week because we are gonna do recap of our haunt events 'cause, Tim's gonna have one by then, I have Horror Nights and the Winchester one,
Yeah.
that I wanna talk about. But, um but anyway, so it's funny, so, there was so many animatronics there, so I was testing them and Obi was not having any of them. And there was one I didn't realize what it was gonna do, so I put the head down and it's a zombie head, and you turn it on, I thought it was just gonna go, "Rah, rah, rah," but it rolls, so it started to go at him, and Obi just kinda, like, stared, looked back, and then there was one where he was walking by and we turned it on, and he gave the funniest look, like, he gave this look of, he gave it a look and just was like, "Not having it," kinda
Right.
thing, and so it's funny, Julie and I were hysterical because poor, Obi, but I do have a thing I wanna get so badly, so, they have that, obviously, the $300 massive skeleton
Yeah,
thing, right?
that thing's cool.
Now now that one's cool, but there's a smaller one that's probably maybe half the size, still massive, right? But I didn't know you could program in the dialogue
Oh,
through an app.
no. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's still about the same price, maybe I think it might be a little bit it's either a little bit more, a little bit less by, like, $20, I can't remember, but I'm like, "That's what I want next year." Because I mean, you could program it literally, I could have it program and, like, start reciting our podcast or something,
That's
and I'm like,
hilarious.
"That's kinda cool."
That
I
is
know, so I'm
cool.
like, "Ooh, that might be my splurge next year." It's a couple hundred, but it's like 200 and something bucks at least, but I'm like, "That would be cool." Because they don't need that giant one. Because first of all, where the heck am I putting it, you know? It's like
Yeah,
Julie
that's
goes,
my
"Yeah, you
thing.
need a whole 'nother life to, like
Yeah.
another whole life goal if you're gonna own something that size." But but yeah. Anyway, so that's really our first jobs, I guess.
Yeah.
'Cause, we wanna move into the, thing. So I guess should we go through the movie briefly?
Yeah, let's go
Because we
through
don't
the
wanna go too much into the movie because you hear us talk about it in the interviews, like, twice.
yeah.
So, I mean and plus we don't wanna spoil this one. It's really good, and it's available now by the time you're hearing this. Demon Detectives, I think it's available on everything, so
We'll go through the housekeeping.
yeah.
Movie is The Demon Detective, of course, came out this year, just came out, a couple weeks ago, directed by T.C. DeWitt. Starring Doug Jones as Osgaroth, Adrienne Barbeau as Abby, Vivica A. Fox as Mrs. Mangy or Mangy? I can't remember how it was pronounced in the movie.
You're right, I can't remember. I was so
I'm gonna say
enthralled with the
Mangy.
fact that we got Doug Jones and Adrienne Barbeau, I was focusing on their characters more
Yeah.
than anything, but
Tom Virtue as Mort Lewis, Eugene Young as Penn, Joey Regulano as Joy Jovi, Dustin Gullidge as Miles Mako, and Danny J. Scott as Clara Donovan. Miles Mako is a professional exorcist who takes on a new client after she encounters a demonic presence who may have links to the detective's dark past. This one reminded me a lot of a book series I'm reading called The Dresden Files by Jim Butcher. And in The Dresden Files, it's a fantasy horror series in which the main character, he's actually, I guess in this world, he's kind of considered like a wizard, but it's very like detective noir, kind of has that feel of like an old school private eye, but
Yeah.
he investigates occult things. So he's like literally an occult detective. And that's what this kind of reminded me of, because in this movie, Miles Mako is a professional exorcist, but he's got a sidekick partner. He's,
Which is my one of my favorite characters too,
yeah,
Pin. He's such a good that's the thing with this movie. I mean, really, not to go into like, specific things, but like I think all the characters are really great in it. And I love the kind of like the friendship between Miles and Pin, because I think that's a strong point. And then of course, without spoiling anything, other than you might hear in the interview,
yeah.
Doug's character is incredible when he appears, and of course, Adrienne Barbeau is just she has. I mean, there's not a spoiler because I think we might mention it. She doesn't have a very long sequence in the film, but it's extremely memorable too.
Yeah, and you'll hear this in the interview as well. The one thing that really stood out for this movie for me was the fact that you kind of enter it into this world that is already established, and you feel like you kind of already know these characters, and that like there's a familiarity to these characters in the story, that even though you're coming in midstream, they just do the writing or whatever, they just do such a good job of making you feel like you just entered into this world and you're already a part of that world. And there's no need for like a huge origin story or any of that kind of thing, which I think we mentioned in the interview a couple of times. That's one of my
Yeah.
favorite parts of this movie, is that you kind of feel like you're sort of like that book series I'm reading. It's kind of like you jump right into this world, and you don't have to have this long build up to to introduce these characters.
And that's a thread too that like so many horror movies like feel like like how like so many times you get these like origin stories. Like if you think about right, like movies like even some of the classics like Halloween, when they did the Rob Zombie reboot, right? He felt that he had to have this entire backstory leading up to the moment why Michael is the way he is. But like in that you do like but the original, you just kind of start right when he essentially becomes the Michael My as a kid, you see the murder of his sister, boom, we're right into this movie. Skip ahead, we're like rolling. There's no like little backstory as to why he is what he is. There's no explanation. And in this, it kind of yes, eventually you get a little bit more of an explanation of why, but it's done in almost the exact opposite. Like you don't find out more towards the end the whole backstory, which is what's great because you're already invested in that cat in the characters. Like there's nothing worse than a backstory because if that before sometimes in in a movie because then if you don't like the backstory, you're kind of out of the movie already and you're out of caring about these characters. Here, you automatically just because you're right in the middle of it, you get the way the characters are, you totally invest in them, and then you find out little bits as it goes on. I always prefer that method, honestly.
I think it shows a trust in your audience. You're not talking down to your audience. You're assuming that the people watching your movie are going to be able to catch up and figure out
Yeah,
things on their own. And that's the movies I prefer. Like I don't I can't stand a movie that has to dumb down everything for you and like spoon feed you the story. I mean, have a little bit of, have a little bit of respect for your audience, that they're adults. They can figure this stuff out. Like it's not,
yeah.
it's not rocket science.
Especially horror movie fans because they've seen it all already. They've
Yeah.
seen stuff. So it's like you don't have to give them everything. You could just give them like this story, we've seen some, versions of this story, but they're not always as done as well as this one where there's great dialogue, there's great characters, there's emotion in it. And there's like you've really just can get and this is not a short movie. It's close to 2 hours
Yeah.
which, it's sometimes horror when it's that long tends to be like, it's hard to see a horror movie that extends so long sometimes because, it's like how much can you see of the same thing over and over again if it's especially, like a slasher? And like I know that was my slight criticism to Terrifier 2, even though I loved it. I'm like, okay, do we need it to be a 2.5 hours? Yeah, it's a lot.
And a lot of times it's hard to keep the tension up for that long too in a horror
Yeah,
movie.
that too, because you almost get desensitized of the in by the end of the movie, and you don't want that either.
Yeah.
But this movie doesn't do it that way. It does it like it keeps you engaged through character, through its characters and its dialogue without really like there's not like it's not like over the top on the gore or anything like that. It's just a good solid movie. And the fact that they were able to get like two really iconic people in the world of horror that everyone's gonna know in there and only use them for a short time and it still make it as powerful it does. That I mean, to me, that's great writing, great directing, honestly. I wanna see what else TC DeWitt did. I don't know, I didn't look him up. I wanna see if he's done a bunch of stuff or if he's got a lot of stuff planned because I will probably watch anything that this guy has done.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, exactly. It's I think you guys are gonna really like it. It's got a really good IMDb rating as well, which is not surprising. Yeah, I was looking up TC DeWitt right here in terms of directing credits, and he did a Friday the 13th. Looks like a Friday the 13th fan movie, fan film. He was a
really?
writer on that. This
Oh.
looks like
Well, he did a Blade movie
yeah,
of
he's
some
done
sort.
actually, he's done a lot of stuff, wow. He's done a lot of writing. I think this looks like maybe his first, oh, no, wait, he's done a lot of directing too.
Yeah.
Wow, okay. He's done a lot of shorts, he's done man, okay. Yeah, it would take too long for me to go through his IMDb credits 'cause he's got a lot on here.
Oh my god, though, I think he wrote one of the, Tubi traps you gave me, I think.
Oh, really?
The Killer Christmas Elves. I don't know if you gave that to me or I did it, but he wrote that with a bunch of other people. It wasn't only him.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, he's done a bunch of, like it's weird, he's done a bunch of, like, major, like, properties, but, like, not the official things, like, this one automatically caught my eye, it's called Justice League 1995. Listen to this. Set in a fictional world where Tim Burton was able to continue his DCU, Lex Luthor's run an alien force to Earth and is up to the newly formed Justice League to stop the threat to the planet.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and he plays Superman and Clark Kent himself.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I gotta dig this one up.
Yeah, these are cool. Yeah, I gotta dig deeper into this guy's, like, backstory because it is fascinating. He's got so many writing and directing credits. This is crazy.
Yeah. Wait,
Wow.
actually, might reach out to him, see
I
if he'll
know.
come on
I
because
know,
I'd love
that's
to talk
awesome.
to him
Yeah,
about things.
very
But,
interesting.
yeah, I mean, I guess I don't wanna say too much more of the movie. Just definitely go watch it. It's on Prime, I think iTunes. I think it's on all your VOD options, for lack of a better word, I guess. I don't
Yeah,
VOD selections,
yeah.
VOD,
Yeah, it's out there. You guys will know where to find it.
yeah, so, but yeah, I don't know which interview we're gonna put first here, Tim. I guess we didn't discuss this,
We
so
didn't
now we're
discuss
gonna just
I
sound
guess I'll just do
awkward.
them in the order we recorded them. So the
Yeah.
first interview is with, Adrienne Barbeau, and, I hope you guys really enjoy it. All right, guys. So people tend to throw the word legend around rather loosely, but our guest today has definitely earned that title. She's not only a star of stage, film, and screen, she's lent her voice to numerous video game and animation projects, some of which are my favorites. She's one of our favorite celebrities we've met at a horror con, and we still talk about our encounter years later. We are honored to be able to chat with the one and only Adrienne Barbeau. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you. It's too much to live up to.
No,
No,
not at
no,
all. Not at all.
yeah, no, I wanted to reiterate too. Yeah, no, you really are. Like we've talked about how, I mean, not only we're a fan of your work, just to meet you when we got to meet you in person, they always say, don't meet your heroes, you never know. But you were lived up to everything we hoped. You were so just lovely to talk to, and we got a nice picture with Tim. And what'd you have signed, right? You had something signed, Tim.
Yeah, I had a Blu-ray of The Fog signed, which I still proudly have in my collection there. So
Right, right,
yeah,
that's right.
yeah, it was great. Yeah, so we're going to be talking about your new movie, The Demon Detective. But Brian, I think you've got a question before we get into that.
Yeah. So before we get into Demon Detective, so you have an astounding number of credits, in a wide variety of genres and stuff. So, but do you have a favorite genre you would say, or actually medium, to be honest with you, because you've done stage, screen, television, etc. So, what do you think what would you say your favorite genre to work in was?
Mm. Well, I can tell you that one of my all-time favorite jobs was Carnival for HBO,
Oh.
which was a television series, a film television series. I sort of have to go backwards. I think that my least favorite genre to work in is soap operas. That's a given. I don't know, I did about 9 months on General Hospital back in 2012, and it's not an art form I appreciate as much. Secondly, it'd probably be these days, I'd rather not have to get my energy up to go on stage at 8 o'clock at night, you know? So unless it's really a great role, I mean, the last time I really did stage was in 2016 when I did the National Touring Company of Pippin, and I was playing Pippin's grandmother who gets to sing the song hanging from a trapeze upside down with no net,
Oh, wow.
and that was couldn't pass that up. But I love doing I love doing film, and I love doing series film. Um, it really oh, and I mean, animation is great because you don't have to get dressed up and you don't have to worry about your hair. And video games are, I guess you'd say they're less rewarding because I never see the final project. I'm not a gamer. Um, I don't really know, you know, what's on screen or anything. They're fun to do, but I think maybe having a character who is developed over a period of time in a series, but it all comes down to the project. It all comes down to the words on the page and the character in the words on the page. I just did, and you both know probably because you've probably heard me say this before. I'm not a horror fan. I don't go see them or anything, but I just did another one. I mean, I'm excited about Demon Detective. I think it's so well done. Uh, but I just did another one a couple months ago that hopefully will be out after the first of the year. And I mean, it was just a great role in a great script. So I can't
Yeah.
make any real generalities except for soap operas.
Yeah, I did hear that actually in another interview they did because wanted to prepare, and watch. So I watched another interview, and when you did say you said that you weren't a big fan of being in the horror, watching horror movies. I thought it's so funny when you hear that as someone who's been in such iconic horror movies to not actually, like watching them.
It all happened by chance. I mean, when I did Someone's Watching Me with John Carpenter, and that's how we met. And then we became romantically involved, and John handed me the screenplay for The Fog. And in those days, if you were doing TV, as I was doing Maud, nobody would even see you for film because they figured audiences wouldn't pay in a theater to see somebody they were seeing every Tuesday night for free on TV. And so John handed me this screenplay and said, I'd like you to play Stevie Wayne. And I read it and I thought, well, I mean, it's not socially significant, it's not coming home or China syndrome, or it's not about anything. Um, but okay, I had never even seen Psycho. I mean, I didn't go to see movies a lot anyway growing up, but I certainly didn't go to see horror films. So, but the fog led to everything else, and it's been a fantastic experience and a fantastic career. It's just given me so much. So,
I was just glad you brought up Carnival because I loved that show. I was so upset when they canceled it.
Yeah.
and canceled it on a kind of on a cliffhanger. And I was so upset. And I know there's rumors that one time maybe they're going to do like a comic book or something to like finish the story off, but they never, I don't believe they ever did. But that was a fantastic show. I really, really enjoyed that one.
And the reason it was a cliffhanger, Tim, is because we wrapped the series in November, and they weren't going to make their decision until the following March, I think it was, something like that. And so the producers had two ideas if we had gone on. One, at least this is what I heard. One, they were going to go back to the inception of the Carnival. The other, they were going to jump ahead to after the atomic bomb
Mm.
and, pick up at that point. But it was an expensive show for HBO to produce because it all took place, in the 30s. And I think they just didn't get it. It was just plus we didn't get the audience that The Sopranos and 6 Feet Under got. And this was just when cable was starting to blossom, and they wanted that crossover audience. I think had we been on the air one more year, we would have found it because
Mm.
I still have people come up and say, "Are they ever going to bring it back?"
Yeah, it was a fantastic show. It really
Well, things
was.
always come back. You never know. Everything's coming
Yeah.
back, like sequels to shows, and like reboots and everything. It'll come back. I have faith.
So, Adrian, to piggyback on Brian's question, I think you kind of alluded to it. Is you play. I love that you play these really strong characters. They always have an edge to them. What do you look for in a role? Do you look for that in a role, or what are some of the qualities you look for in a character?
The first word that just popped into my mind, and I've never used this word before when someone's asked that, is honesty. But I think what I mean by that is, do I believe the character? Does it make sense? And one of the things I like so much about Demon Detective, when they offered me the role, they had already filmed a little bit of the beginning. And so I was able to see the first opening scenes. And one of the things that this movie has that so many screenplays that I get offered does not have is character development. I mean, you start to get a feeling for these people and you care about them. And it's not, oh, here we are on the second page of the script, and 3 people have already been killed in the most brutal manner you can imagine. And who cares? Who gives up, because we don't care about him. But I do, well, let's see. Do I look at the character first or do I look at the overall? No, I just turned down something where I started reading it. I got to the character, I kept on reading, and then I didn't even want to continue reading just because I didn't like it. I didn't like the characters. I didn't buy it to a certain extent. Um, do I always, I mean, I tend to get offered strong women, because that's what I've played for. So I don't know if, well, I get, I'm not going to say it. I shouldn't, well, I'm not I get killed in the one I just did, but that didn't really make me a victim. Um, I don't think I could play real, real victims like coming from that place because I don't come from that place, I guess.
I really liked about the Demon Detective, and I don't think I've even mentioned this to you, Brian, but it felt like we entered these characters' lives and they were already pre-established and they all had these relationships pre-established. And I felt like I was jumping into the middle of the story. And it was great because it felt like they all had a history that maybe I wasn't privy to as a viewer, but I jumped into the middle of it and it made me want to know more about how all this start. Like I almost wanted to see the origin movie of this because we jump into the middle. And I thought it was great because I felt like uh, you know and with your character as well, it felt like there was this history here that we were missing out on, but
Yes.
not in a bad way. Like it made me want it made me more invested in the movie because we were jumping into these already established characters, and they weren't doing this painful build up of how did these guys meet and how did this meet. They trusted the viewer was smart enough to jump into the middle of the story, and I thought I really liked that about the movie.
Yes, and it made it, at least in our scenes, I think it made it really interesting because you understood immediately that stuff had gone on between these people. You didn't quite know what it was, but yes, they had a relationship.
Right.
That's it. I'm glad you brought that up. I would not have thought of it, but yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. And as the
Yeah.
movie goes on, you do uncover or they expose some
Hmm.
of what their relationships were built on, the backstory.
Right. Yeah. And that's what I was going to ask you too. I think, Tim, I'm just going to skip ahead because we kind of got the
Sure.
questions kind of got combined. But about your backstory was so interesting. I mean, but when, like Tim said, I agree with him 100%. It's like you come into this movie kind of in a place where, the director trusts that you're going to figure it out. You're going to be brought in. And that, I think that works because just all the performances are good and the writing is good. So it really pulls you in and you don't find yourself questioning in a bad way, like, well, I don't get it. I don't get why is this happening? So it's
Right,
it's and it's like so good. And your character, even though it's not a long sequence, it's so powerful, I think. And it really is like comes at the perfect time in the movie. So were you given any kind of backstory to your character? Because or did you just like kind of like know a little bit and you went with it? Because either way, your role was you did such a phenomenal job in that sequence that it got I'm like, okay, I have to ask that. I have to ask if she was given this backstory because it felt like we knew your character already.
I don't believe I was given any backstory. Um, whether we talked about it on the set because it's been a long time since we filmed this. I suspect that I did the entire scene. I think I was just on the set for one day. I certainly made my own choices. Obviously, when she says to him, "You left the church, I was kicked out," I had to have an understanding of why I was kicked out. I don't think TC ever said, yeah, this is what happened. I think I sort of, and maybe Dustin and I, uh, you know, talked about it. Oh, it's hard to remember. But no, there wasn't any, oh, this is the character that blah, 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 blah. No, we found it all together.
I think it worked for this movie anyway because it really does like feel like you feel like you've known these characters somehow without really any true like the like full on like origin stories in it like Tim said and it's kind of like you're right in there and I think just the characters are so engaging that it doesn't even matter, you know what I mean, you just like you want to find more like and Tim, I'm the same way. I want to see the prequel to this now. I want to see
Yeah.
like the how we got to where it started because it was really really entertaining.
And I thought, because I did my one day's work and then I never saw it until they had a screening for us a year or two ago. And I was just blown away by the performances. I was really the music and the direction and what interested me because I wasn't really aware of it when I was on the set is that Matt Raskin, who was played one of the characters, was also the DP and the editor. And
Oh,
I was
wow.
like, oh man, are you kidding? And everybody just I really loved it. I was so happy to be able to tell everybody at the end of the screening how much I enjoyed all their work.
That's great. That's great. So I want to ask you this because you've had such an amazing career. What are some of your roles and projects that you're the most proud of?
Well, I am proud of Ruthie in Carnival. Um, we're talking film and television now. My
Well,
mind immediately goes to theater. Um,
oh, at theater. I mean,
I,
even
I'm,
theater.
prou- I'm very proud of Stevie Wayne in The Fog, and I take great pleasure or joy, I guess, out of watching Billy in Creepshow. I just showed it to my sons my son's soon-to-be fiance, who's never doesn't like horror films or anything. And I said, well, just watch this little segment because hopefully it's not the woman she knows who's going to be mother-in-law eventually. So, I mean, I think Billy is she just makes me laugh. But I owe a lot of her to George Romero. I like Maggie. The things I'm not proud of are the things you probably haven't seen because I never promote them, and God forbid anybody should see them. Although I did do a Murder, She Wrote that everybody talks to me about, and I keep thinking, oh my God, I was just chewing the scenery. I was just chewing the scenery. But if they think it's okay, I'm not going to say anything. Um, let's see. I'm very well, I am excited to see this upcoming film because I just, the words had come out of my mouth and I think, wow, I didn't know it was going to sound like that. I didn't know, it was, it was a really nice experience. So let's see, what else? I did a guest star on a Sons of Anarchy that
Oh yeah, I love that show.
where I played Venus's aunt, I believe it was. No, Venus's mother. And it was a powerful scene. And I did a really sort of nice character. Well, I did a nice character in 911, a woman who's on her way to get married. And there's an accident and they're going to take her to the hospital. And she says, no, no, you can't. This is my second chance at love and everything. It was nicely written. And I did one on AJ and the Queen with RuPaul, which she had a nice, she was a breast cancer survivor. And and there was a Grey's Anatomy that I did with Frayne. Oh, what's his first name? Played the mother of a schizophrenic boy, a schizophrenic man. And I needed surgery, but I couldn't leave my son. He needed medical attention too. And I was not willing to let them do the surgery because someone needs to be with him at all the time and tell him that you have to go in this door because if you go in this door he will be terrified. And it was, I mean, they were just nicely written roles. So I've had a good time. And I still am.
I know I may have to seek that one out. I try not to watch medical shows because I'm a bit of a hypochondriac.
Oh.
Tim will tell you, but I'm going to seek that one out just to see you in it. So
James Frayne, is that?
Oh, okay.
Yes, yeah. Long again, it's been so long.
Well, I know, and it's like I still, as I was like preparing, I'm like looking through like all your IMDb stuff, and I'm like, oh my God, there's not a show or movie, that she hasn't like been in. It's amazing, like it's like. So yeah, no, I just love that, and actually that kind of brings me to my next question. So, you're someone obviously that has kind of like with such an immense career, you've seen it all, you've dealt with probably a million things. So, what kind of advice would you give for someone, let's say, that's just starting out in the industry, and they come up and ask you like, what would you tell me to do? Like, what would I look out for? Like, what do you think you would tell that person?
I tell that person to learn their craft, to learn their words, to show up prepared, to be professional, to leave the telephone in the dressing room, you know. But mostly to learn their craft, however you go about doing that. If you look at Dustin, our star, I mean, my God, Dustin has, I think he went to Harvard. I mean, he has an incredible uh, theatrical education. You don't need that necessarily. You don't have to go to college to learn it, but find ways where you can act if it's, a friend is doing a student film, or somebody's doing an off Broadway, equity waiver, and you get to do 4 lines or something. That's one thing. I guess, I mean, so much of what we see these days is talent that is coming from social media that
Mhm.
really hasn't had a lot of experience acting, but they've got an incredible, fan base. And so they are a viable commodity for film and television. If they show up and don't know what they're doing, can't deliver the goods, not going to stay around very long. So, and then maybe I'm old fashioned, or I'm old, and professionalism is, to my mind, important. No actor wants to show up with another actor who hasn't bothered to learn his lines, or hasn't bothered to come in on time, or, you know, leaves the set when they're not supposed to. It's just, those are just basic things. And you know what else I tell them? Learn to speak. I don't know how many. I mean, I just keep subtitles on all the time now, because everybody just sort of mumbles and talks like this, and the poor sound man can't do anything around it. And what did he just say? What did he just say? And
I
again,
do the same thing, actually.
maybe I'm showing my age, but enunciate, for God's sake.
Oh no, I trust me, I do the same thing, and my wife does the same thing. She's like, she's always got the subtitles on
Yeah,
because
same here.
we're like, what? What is that?
We're
And then
watching American shows, right? It's not like
yeah,
we're watching Swedish performances.
yeah, and you can't turn the volume up, because if it's one of those services or channels that has commercials, that comes blaring at you. So
Yes.
you're trying to
And
lower that down.
it doesn't work anyway. It doesn't work
Yeah.
anyway. I feel so badly for the sound man.
Well, Adrienne, we want to be respectful of your time.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on to talk about Demon Detective. And I'm encourage all of our listeners to go seek this out now that it's available on Amazon Prime, and I guess most of
Apple Plus, I think it'll be September 26th, if not already. But
Okay.
yeah, now
Great.
Amazon Prime. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's,
So
it's worth it. I think it's worth it.
yeah, it's a
Oh,
really
I
fun. Yeah, it's a
agree.
really
Yeah.
fun movie, and Adrienne's role is just spectacular. So
Yes.
again, thank you so much for being on. We are such big fans, and I really appreciate your time coming on and talking about the movie.
Yes,
Thanks
it's
very
true.
much.
It was true. Yeah, it was truly one of the greatest honors of our little show here that that we're able to chat with you for a little bit.
Great. Thank you. And I'll come back if I can, and we'll talk about Oddities, which is the name of the film that I just did.
Oh, I
Okay.
love that. Love that.
Yeah,
Open invitation.
just say the
Yes.
words. You are welcome anytime you want.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks. Have a good night.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Right.
All right, Brian. So that was just amazing getting to talk to her
Yeah.
again. And she's so, oh my gosh, she's just so down to earth about her past projects and stuff. And I really loved when she was talking about Carnival, and like
Yeah.
what
Oh, yeah.
happened to it. I mean, because that's always been on my mind. Like, why didn't they not finish season 3? And so, she's just such a super nice lady, and I'm
Yeah.
so happy she was on to talk to us.
Yeah, and I love that, like, even, like, with all the credits she's done in so many projects, she still has the enthusiasm to just keep going and doing
Oh,
more,
yeah.
and, like, and, like, she just, like and, like, with all those kinda credits, she kinda shocked me a little when she said, "Oh, she's turned a lot down," like, it's nice to see that, like, she's, like, she actually takes a good look at her projects and picks them to what she feels like she wants to do, and how she, that she do good in them. And so I love the fact that, I mean, we knew she was gonna be awesome because when we met her at the con, she was just a true delight.
Yes, she
So
was. Yeah.
it was no surprise that she was gonna be just as awesome again when we got to talk to her.
Yeah. And speaking of awesome, I knew this gentleman would be awesome as well after meeting him at the con many years ago. And of course, this is our interview with Doug Jones, who is really needs no introduction. I mean, he just spans so many genres. How he sits in a makeup chair for as many hours as he has over his career, I will never know.
Seriously.
But yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this wonderful interview with Mr. Doug Jones. Okay, everybody. Well, tonight's guest really needs no introduction. He has played interstellar travelers, amphibious men, demonic entities, vampires, you name it. But whatever role he plays, he always stands out. We're looking forward tonight to talking to the wonderful, legendary Doug Jones about his latest film, The Demon Detective. So, welcome to the show, Doug.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I will reiterate what Tim said. Yeah, it's such an honor to have you on because it's like if it's there's so many roles that you have done. It's amazing, and like they're all like some of like our favorite movies and stuff. Like if you see all the Blu-rays behind me, as Tim
I
nicknames
do.
them, the Monolith. You're in several of those,
Oh, that's
many of
sweet.
those, all scattered throughout there. But but yeah, so about that though, so you have made a career basically out of playing a lot of otherworldly characters. So have you always had an interest in fantasy and sci-fi?
Well, sure, a fascination with it some, but I think yeah, it's oddly enough, as an audience member, what I grew up loving the most were sitcoms and variety shows, like anything that made me laugh or feel like warm and fuzzy. So it was kind of a turn of event, and that's what I sought out when I first moved out to Hollywoodland in 1985. I was like, I want to be a sitcom star. And so I wanted to be the goofy next door neighbor that borrowed a cup of sugar and said something funny, did an armpit fart, and left. I had very low aspirations for my career. And but when I hit town here, I was a 6'3", 135-pound mime background contortionist with very flexible limbs. And for some reason, that got my first agent, like sending me out for things that involved physical tomfoolery, mime skills, clown skills, whatever. And so I started booking TV commercials for characters like that. And what often happened was that those characters would have a certain look that would need to be glued onto me by a creature effects makeup artist. And that's when I got into their loop, working with creature effects people, and they would remember me and then refer me for the next job that they had coming down, whether it was a movie, TV show, commercial, whatever. And so I started getting in the referral calls, basically kind of sidestepping the normal casting process. That's how it all began.
Right. That's so funny. Yeah, because I too, as a kid, I was all into that, but also one of my biggest things I grew up with was watching sitcoms and like Three's Company, and my
Oh
mom
yeah.
got me started early with I Love Lucy, and it's like it's funny how you can go from that and then go to get this like just your career just like launches a total different way, but yet you still, it's still immensely successful.
Well, thank you. Yeah.
So, Doug, you've done so many roles, obviously behind makeup and special effects, but I've always really enjoyed the roles where you got to perform with minimal makeup,
Thank
such
you.
as the Baron from What We Do in the Shadows, which is one of my favorite
Yes.
characters. Yes, I love him. And then now this role in the Demon Detective, where your makeup's rather minimal compared to what you're usually behind
Yeah.
a number of prosthetics.
Yeah.
So, do you prefer acting behind the makeup more or less than acting without makeup?
Well, I'm old now. I'm 65 years old, so I am preferring the makeup free look now. I put my time in with many monsters and creatures over 39 years. And so one of the things that was appealing about the Demon Detective is that I was playing a demon in it, but who looked like a human with some scars
Mhm.
all over me. And I was shirtless, which no one should have to see a 60-something-year-old man shirtless, but here we are. And but what I and you mentioned talking about the sitcoms and the comedic love that I have. When I watched myself in The Demon Detective, I chuckled. Yeah, I mean, here I was, this like hideous demon at the climax of the movie that has been haunting the Demon Detective, my, Maiko. That was the character's name curses. Played by the brilliant Dustin Gillege. But anyway, when I finally I haunted him in his childhood, and now I'm back to claim him again as an adult. So it's kind of a heavy climax that happens in this movie, but he's so sassy and smarmy about it that it made me chuckle. And it's like, oh well, there's the comedic. There's my sitcoms coming out. I'm being a big fan of Dick Van Dyke. I'm like, well, this is how he would have played it. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Hey, speaking of that, did you see him? He's still like doing like workouts and stuff. It's incredible. I saw him.
Yeah, he is
They have
incredible.
pictures of him at the gym, and he's like, what is he? He's like
Like
99,
90,
I think.
He's
he's like
99.78 years old. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he'll be 100 in December, and I finally had the chance
Wow.
to meet him face to face about a month ago, and it was a heavenly day.
oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
he is
cool.
incredible.
I love when I hear other celebrities meeting like one of their favorite people because it's like, it's there's this aura of that like, they're beyond like just having the regular human emotions someone should have. But I love to see when like a celebrity like has the same loves as like say Tim and I, like, oh wow, I get to meet like one of my favorite actors kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's always such a joy. Um
Well, it's the childhood character, like with the characters and actors I watched as a kid that sort of shaped me as an adult. Now I still have that giddy like "Nah," when I'm in the same room with them. And I've had the pleasure of meeting so many of my icons from my past, and but as a peer now, it is a weird situation to be like, but I melt into fanboy when I'm around them. And just this past weekend, I was at a convention in Salt Lake City. It was FanX Salt Lake, which is ginormous. Yeah, I was one of 100 actors there.
Wow.
So I'm in the green room, but before the day starts, and I'm meeting Henry Winkler. And
Oh,
oh,
then
that's
meeting
that's
right.
that's one of my top on the list too.
Yeah, and he's an angel from heaven. And then meeting Vicki Lawrence from the Carol Burnett show.
mm.
Right.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So I was just like, oh my gosh. And then out of the blue, this nice little lady comes over to me and says, Doug, I just have to meet you. I'm a big fan of yours. I love all of your work. I'm Beverly D'Angelo, by the way. And then she
Oh my
goes,
Oh.
gosh.
like, oh, but yeah, hello. So,
Yeah.
when that kind of thing happens, where someone on the radar knows who I am, it's like just like, no, 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 I'm the fanboy, and you're the celeb. What's this about? It doesn't make any sense to me.
Oh, that's great. I seriously, I could hear stories like that all day because it's like
Yeah,
it really does like it's so fun to see. And like Tim and I have been to a bunch of cons together and we see that, like sometimes the celebrities will like first introduce each other to each other and I'm like,
yeah.
oh, that's kind of funny. You figure just like there's this like weird thing that like, oh, everyone just must know each other because they've been in a movie. That's
Not
and it's
necessarily.
and it's the furthest from
Yeah,
yeah, it's the furthest from the truth.
yeah.
But so okay, so back to Demon Detective, and I
Mm.
don't try not to get into spoilers because both Tim and I absolutely love this film. And there were so many cool elements to it, but your role so it's quite unique, and I feel like we felt that we utilized some really neat camera tricks. So what like to kind of get capture everything. So what can you tell us about the experience?
Yeah, yeah. We shot all of my stuff in one day. And it was a rather long climactic scene that I sort of where I show up. And yeah, as you notice, when you talk about the effects, I do appear and disappear, reappear all over the place, just really, really haunting this poor guy. And and I will tell you what, Dustin Gallege he's such a great actor, and he's a handsome cuss too, and he's so incredibly welcoming. Um, he it's like, hi, how are you? And then all of a sudden I'm shirtless crawling on him. Yeah, you have to build a certain trust to get there that fast in one day with somebody. And he was brilliant. And TC DeWitt, our director writer, had such distinct vision for how this was going to go. And he kind of talked me through all of the special effects that were going to be happening in this scene. So I could imagine what was happening. I had an awful lot of dialogue, and thank heaven he could break it up. And because yeah, I'm appearing over his shoulder this way in 1 second, and then the next second I'm over on this shoulder. So we could break up all the dialogue into one bit at a time. Thank heaven, because the memory, whoo.
Yeah, no, and it's great too because it's like when your character is kind of like discussed throughout the film, and then when it's finally revealed, it was really impressive because I know when I was watching, I was like, when's he coming? He's got to be here soon. He's got to be here soon. But it felt like we already knew your character. We knew like a lot of the characters seemed like Tim and I mentioned this earlier. It was actually, the characters like had these backstories that really we come into kind of mid like already established characters, but yet you never feel like you don't know their backstory in some way. And I guess I guess that's a testament to the writing and the directing of this too. But so it was kind of cool when your character finally came. It's like it was so welcoming when he finally came because we like kind of built up to that moment, and it definitely delivered.
Yeah, and it's just a skinny old guy after all, right?
Well, no, I
Yeah,
expected you as the creature, from Shape of Water is what I expected.
right,
No, I'm
right,
only kidding.
and here comes
Oh.
just like a skinny guy with scars all over him. I was duly impressed with Adrienne Barbeau and Vivica A. Fox too. It was really fun to
Yeah,
get
yeah.
alongside of them.
Yeah, oh, no, they
Yeah,
were great. Everyone was so good in this. It was like there was not a performance that was missing something at all, and it was all like top
Yeah.
notch.
yeah, very, very good cast. So, Doug, now I'm going to ask you this. I'm sure you've been asked this before, but I'm always impressed with how you imbue these characters that are a lot of times hidden behind prosthetics and makeup with such life and personality. But how do you get into the head of something that doesn't actually exist in the real world? How do you get into that
Right.
actor mindset?
Right, because you've heard actors doing character study where,
Yeah,
when you're playing a World War II veteran, you can go to
right.
a veteran's home and talk to somebody who's been there and done that. But yeah, when you're playing a demon from hell, it's like, well, who do I interview for that? I don't want to summon that up. So, so I basically, yeah, I have to use my imagination a lot, and it's great to have a chat with the director to find out their vision for how this is going to go. What nuances would they like to see, and how can I then now interpret this for myself so that it comes from an organic place in me? And that's why I think when I manifest as this demon that's been haunting this poor guy for all of his life, and I'm very playful with him, and I'm very sarcastic with him, and I kind of making fun of all of his fears and all of his protection of his little sister. Nah. It's like I'm really I'm the little brother, that's annoying the family, going nah, 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 Uh, so that for me was a fun twist to put on him, not just to be like, I'm an evil demon and then leave it there. I wanted him to be like, like playful and sassy, so that you're almost like giggling, but like something's very wrong with this guy. You know, yeah. So I wanted to be not right, and I hope I pulled it off.
Do you find that most directors are open to that kind of improvisational aspect that you bring to these characters?
I would say most are, yeah. A good director would be, yeah, and like a Guillermo del Toro, for instance, who I've worked with, several times over 25 years. He's very collaborative. And if you bring something, I think, and most any director, if you bring something on the day that's working and that gets a reaction from them, oh, they'll keep it and they'll want you to do another take of that again. I hear that and feel that a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's funny you brought that up because I'm like, you almost expect a demon to have that like that signature like "Hello," and like with an echo and
Yes,
all
the
these
soul
things. And I
start coming
love the
out of
fact,
the.
yeah, and I love the fact that you were like that, like that almost like way scarier in a way, because there was this like little like what is this game here? What's going on? Like
Yeah.
what you're always on edge that because if this is the guy that haunted this guy who's faces all this stuff all his life, and this is the guy that's got under his skin. So it's like I think you did such I love the take on that because it was so much
Right.
better than just like that stereotyped gravelly voice, like echoey demon,
Yeah, yeah. Well, I also, I guess, was sort of added I don't want to say sexual, probably more of a sensual element where it was like an unwelcome sensuality. I was coming at this guy and crawling on him and getting it in his ear, like, ah, in a way, it was not sexual, but it was sensual in a way that like I wanted his being. I wanted to meld with him to keep him forever in eternity in my hell with me. So there's something sensual and intimate about that, but grotesquely intimate, right? That was an
Yeah, oh
addition.
no. Yeah, anyone with personal space issues will like
Yes,
be probably
exactly.
gripping their couch at this point because I'm like,
Exactly.
oh my God, he's like beyond my personal space and within my
Right,
yeah, no,
right, right.
that's a great description of that. So so we of course we peeked at your IMD upcoming list because we know so much of your history. So and
Yeah.
you've got a number of astounding number of projects coming in the works though. Is there any
Yeah.
that you could talk about or that you're particularly excited
Well,
about?
yeah, sure. In my old age now, once Star Trek Discovery was done, my rubber bits came off and they've kind of stayed off for the last couple of years. So I very much enjoyed playing humans and in a number of films, big parts, small parts, everything. So let's see. Aside from Demon Detective, the next thing coming is November 7th to theaters. a Christmas, light, fluffy Christmas movie called All Is Merry and Bright. And I'm playing a
Oh.
delivery guy in that who comes to the lead lady's house like every day leading up to Christmas, bringing her packages that she doesn't really remember ordering. So I'm kind of another sarcastic deadpan humor guy, and I loved playing him. So that's November 7th in theaters. So yeah, and mostly I think it's gonna be in big cities across the country. We'll see how wide it goes. Um, and then also I've done a couple more that I don't know release dates yet for, but I did one called Vicarian, and Vicarian is the name of a goggle company, a virtual reality sort of goggle company that, and I am an old guy, an old rich guy who's kind of homebound, and I hire a young lady to go to Italy to retrace my youth there with my lovely dearly departed wife, and I want to retrace my steps before I pass away. And that, so it's a really kind of a fun premise where, and she does
Yeah.
a lot of this film was filmed in Italy, and I did all my bits here in LA in this big mansion, that I supposedly own. I wish. And so anyway, this story takes a bit of a dark turn at some point where you realize something's not quite right with this arrangement that we have. That's all I can say about that.
Oh,
So
no, I'm
Vicarious,
intrigued. Yeah,
yeah.
that's
And then I did a fun one recently called Horrified, and it is a
like the
kind of a
board game.
spoof, right? It's kind of a spoof of horror fan conventions. And
Oh, that's right up our
so that
alley.
this takes place at a convention in Tulsa, Oklahoma called Horrified. And in this, I play Doug Jones. So I'm basically playing myself at a convention, which I am and have done. And so that's kind of, it's very funny. Whoever wrote this, it is knows the convention circuit, because it's very funny with lots of true bullet points throughout. And of course, there's a killer on the loose that starts picking people off one at a time. And we'll see what happens to Doug Jones in this.
Oh,
Okay.
wow.
Sounds
Well,
that sounds
well, I
amazing.
hope he survives because he's a
Yeah.
pretty cool dude.
Well, you can hope all
Um,
you want.
yeah. Well, and it's funny, you literally gave three movies that are right up to me. Like, because even though we're a horror podcast, we talk so many times about our fan of holiday Christmas movies all the time.
Me
And
too.
then that other one, the Vicarium, that sounds just like such an amazing premise.
Yeah.
And then now that you're doing a one about a horror con, I mean, you've just got us sold on three movies, right? No matter what now.
But yeah, thank you so much, Doug, for coming on. This was such an honor. Like I said, you're one of our favorite actors,
Oh,
and we encourage all of our listeners to go out and check out The Demon Detective, which is available now on
yep.
VOD. It's a great film. Brian and I really enjoyed it. And again, thank you so much for your time, Doug. You are always welcome. And anything you ever want to promote, just
Yep.
drop us a line, and we will be happy to spread the word.
It's a deal. Thank you so much for having me. You guys are great.
Thank
Oh, our
you.
pleasure. Thank you so much.
All right, Brian. Yes, I was so happy because before we started recording, I got to tell Doug about us meeting in Wilmington many, many years ago, and what an impression that made on me, because he was just so nice, and it was really my first celebrity con. It was the first time I had actually been able to go up and meet celebrities, so I had no clue what to expect. I had no idea. I was a little intimidated, and he just made it like such a wonderful experience for my first time doing that. Of course, I've been to many cons since then, and for almost I can't think of a bad experience I've had. I mean, every celebrity guest has been wonderful. But it all started there, and that's why this interview was really special for me.
Yeah, and it's like, he had so much to like contribute, and like we only had him for a short time, but it's like I feel like he had so much contribute for every question we asked. Like, and it's like, and it just, you could see that he loves the craft, he loves the what he's doing, and he's like, and it all comes through because he's so talented, and then yet, but he's so humble about it, and it made like just for a great conversation. So yeah, this episode will always go down. It's so funny, like you would think with all the episodes we did, somewhere in the middle of the 300s, that we get such a like an epic episode that will be like so memorable, like no matter where this podcast goes in the future, this episode will always be I think special for that reason, just for the
Yes,
whole thing about it. So
absolutely. Well, we do have a beer pairing. It's been a while since we've done a beer
yes.
pairing with our long summer slaycation series. But Brian, what did you have for the Demon Detective?
So this was usual one. Yeah, oddly, there's not a lot of demon themed beers. But but I tried to look, I said, okay, well, if I can't get demonic, I can get devilish, I guess, in there. But we've done a couple of those too. So I'm like trying to look for something unique. And Founders, who's been around
Yeah,
for a while,
Founders is
especially in the craft beer
yeah.
scene, they were one of the first really known, I feel like, craft brewers that people would like kind of get, in the bar, and you'd go in, past your Bud Light, your Heinekens, and all these things that everyone would order. Like, I was always at that, like, tried to be at that Heineken level, but like, you know, then like, then once craft beer started, like, different beers like Dogfish Head, and Founders and
Mhm.
all these things. I'm like, okay, good. That's
Sierra
what's
Nevada,
Sierra
yeah.
Nevada. Yeah, exactly. You see, like Tim and I are in sync there. Like, those kind of those like basic level, and not basic because they're bad, just basic because they're everywhere kind of thing. I'm saying,
Yeah.
craft beer. Founders was one of those. So they just released, I think this is new for this year. They came up with these new spiked drinks. And this one is, I was like, well, it's not just spiked vodka, things like that, but this is I think they do a spiked cider kind of thing, which, is so like so close to the beer family.
Yeah.
But this one was a devil spiked hard ginger beer, which I loved, and it's called and for some reason there it is. Okay, it's just called devil spiked hard ginger beer. That's it. No fancy name, no funny name, but the fact that it's devil spiked, I'm like devil, demonic. Okay, we're close.
Yeah, close enough.
That's good. And I'm a big fan of ginger beer because I love that, all these different, like, a good alcoholic ginger beer is phenomenal. Remember
I
we had the
love
one
them.
at, yeah, we had the ones at the Cedar Point meetup with like where Civil Gore's origins.
Yeah, that's where I first, like, encountered it.
Yeah, and it's funny because that's like the origins of Civil Gore, and now we're back here at one of our most famous episodes. But anyway, so here's the thing: it's a devil. It says devil spiked hard ginger beer doesn't hold back. This 10% ABV powerhouse packs a punch with this bold blend of spicy ginger and the zesty snap of fresh lime. With every sip, the devilish heat of ginger, balanced by subtle sweetness, delivers a refreshingly intense kick as it keeps you coming back for more. Cranked up and full of attitude, devil spiked hard ginger beer is for those daring enough to handle the heat.
Very
So,
nice. I would like to try that
yeah,
one
so that
because
sounds
I
good.
like ginger beers, and
Me
10%
too.
is not no joke. So that's pretty cool.
No, I know that's really actually strong for a ginger beer.
Yeah, I haven't been, I've been drinking my Elysian pumpkins, but I haven't really branched out much, beyond that this year. I have not been able to find pumpkin here in town anywhere, which is
Oh
weird. Like, I
no.
used to always
Am I
see
gonna have to
pumpkin.
send that too to you?
I know, it's just weird. Like, I usually have seen it everywhere by this point, I just it's not there. I don't know where it went, but, I haven't hit my main, like, grocery store place that usually has the
Uh,
best selection. I haven't hit them since, like, probably mid-September, so I might need to check back. Maybe they've got it. Maybe they got some more stuff now. So I hope you guys enjoyed those 2 interviews. I mean, they were just wonderful. I love the movie. I love that we were able to get in contact with Adrienne and Doug to talk about this movie. I hope you guys go out there and support them and rent it on VOD or or purchase it on VOD. And yeah, it was just a wonderful, wonderful experience.
yes, it was actually, and it's like I know like we say this all the time, but like it really was amazing to talk to two such epic talent for, not just for us, but for many people. So hopefully, yeah, hopefully you'll enjoy it. Oh, and a shout out to AJ, of course, for getting that set up for us for the
Yeah.
screener and the guests, of course.
All right, guys. So we will see you back here next week for more Octobery goodness. We got a bunch of cool stuff planned. I'm going to try to get some video of my Halloween decorations that I can post on one of our
Oh yeah, I got to do
platforms.
that too.
Yeah.
Because I'm gonna do a preview night of my stuff with the fog and the extra lights. I still have a couple of things to add, so I'm gonna do that when I hopefully this week get some good footage.
All right, guys. We'll see you back here soon. Take care.